Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Apologize for running a little bit late, a few minutes. The Committee on General Government Operations, Appropriation, Housing convenes the public hearing. The public hearing notices were given to the media on Wednesday, March 27. Second notice was on Monday, April 1st. And for the record, today is Thursday, April 4th, and the time now is 9:07. The committee will hear and accept testimonies, both oral and written, on the following: referral of appointment of Joseph A. Cameron. Position is for the member of Board of Commissioners, Guam Housing and Urban Renewal Authority. Term length is 5 years. And also the appointment of Ms. Sabino, or Mr. Sabino Flores, I apologize, for member Board of Commissioners, Guam Housing and Urban Renewal. And you're to fill the unexpired term of Thomas E.B. Boer, but I expect your reappointment immediately after that one, Mr. Flores. A referral of also of the appointment of Lanita B. Tion. Did I pronounce that correctly? Okay. Position for member Board of Commissioners, Guam Housing and Urban Renewal. Oh, great. We'll get a full board. Term length is 6 years from the date of confirmation. I'd like to acknowledge the senators that have joined me this morning, and I have to my left Senator Will Castro. To my right, I have Senator Sabina Perez and Senator Clint Rigel. General rules for the public hearing. The conduct of this public hearing shall be as follows. Those testifying will be recognized in the order of sign-up on the sign-in sheet. Written testimony may be read. Lengthy written testimony should be summarized to about 5 minutes. Written testimony shall be submitted to the committee. Please provide our legislative staff your written testimony for photocopying. Testimony should be confined to the substance. Persons will be allowed to present oral testimony only once. Once you are done, you may be asked to remain in the room for questions or for additional testimony as may be desired by the members of the panel. Proper form and decorum shall be practiced by all present in the public hearing room for the proceedings. Individuals who fail to maintain proper form and decorum may be restricted from providing oral testimony or may be asked to leave. Word of warning: if proper decorum is not followed, you will be removed and restricted from further testimony. When you speak, please make sure that the microphone is on and that you speak into the microphone. You state your name for the record, and we will now begin with Joseph A. Cameron. Sir, we have, thank you, sir. We have Anne Marie Arceo. Will you be testifying orally? Anne? Okay, if you please would come forward. We have Ray Haddock. Ray's not here. And we also have Robert Camacho. Sir, will you be giving oral testimony? Robert? No, I thought I saw him. Robert, come on. Come on up, Primo. And that Primo, Uncle Joe. Great group. Mr. Cameron, we'll first start with the oral testimony from the folks that are here to support you. And then we'll have you next, okay? So we'll begin with Anne Marie. Ma'am, we'll start with you.
Manana si Diyos. Gagizo gwini pago na dia para bay who supporti esti telu as Joseph Cameron ni para guiza po sauna gumelui okay esti pago Guam Housing kuntungo ifino tomorrow malefadu Guam Housing and Urban Renewal Authority Aturidad Ginima Guahan, something like that. Okay. Nasita be a de memoria no infin who tuli tempo pago na ogan and took a golf tinanizo who tuli tempo sa Paraguaho Bali na esina prohimo is Joseph Megay sinya hanai I comunidad según gi espiritunya finenena gai espiritu zan gai fuerza ni poro o nakalamtin masya mano na mapolugui atuka otu na lugar da Paraguay gen set bienti in comunidad hau, gof importante na guaha tempomu, guaha fuetsamu, dan guaha mas importante menalago na para un fanyet bini tau. Da si Joseph gi todo anos ni hutungu gui tori tempo huli na gof la na prohimu mega espiritunya para u kalamtini tau ta. Da listu para o fanyet bi hagasa. Pues mas takilo na rason na gaigizo guni bai man hongizo na sina tobe sina toto atukap mano na mapologui I otru na rason gof importante na zangin set bien din comunidad hau importante pago na tiempo puet pago ni mamatay I lengua hita dan mamatay I kulturata esta ifamagonta ti ma praktika pues hita ni manitay dota importante na ta modelo na met good hit gita moro na spiritu ta tungo hadi hit da si Joseph agoftungo hadi gui atungo fomano tomorrow atungo put I historiata cabales si Joe cabales pues como gehilo gof importante loqui dan put ultimo dan on atan I tetenya dan experience-nya mega experience-nya gi administration mega experience-nya gi tori gobernamento fanan kada departamento na matoto ekwa lo la mega za hagasa huli si Joseph na gi halam gobernamento gi comunidad listu para o fanyet bi pues simple shuha fanan now para o gineti na para uma preba na para o fanyet bi gwini na lugar gi poge lui I Guam Housing and Urban Renewal Authority. Si Diyos maasi.
Thank you. Mr. Camacho, sir.
Good morning, Senators, and I'm here to testify on behalf of Joseph Cameron for the position of board member for the Board of Guam Housing and Urban Authority. I'm reading this letter, actually it's from my wife, but I'm going to say a few words. So my wife couldn't make it today, she's working, so she asked me to read it for her. Dear Senator San Agustin and esteemed colleagues, it is simple to read an impressive biography and note a person's many accomplishments. However, it is difficult to see a person's attitude, feel their heart, or note their spirit. Only through such an avenue as this does one have the opportunity to barely even convey what a person is truly like in real life. There is no one more positive energy and enthusiasm than Mr. Cameron, and he is truly remarkable in how he is always busy, working hard on many different projects. Not only does he juggle them all, but he gets them all accomplished with sweat equity and finesse. He is a true example of the axiom, busy people get things done. He is a can-do person that doesn't look at obstacles but works at always finding solutions. He is an asset to any board or entity that is fortunate to be blessed by having him on their team, whether it is dealing with housing, culture, history, preservation, beauty, environment, or anything in the community. He will have a hand in it to restore and protect it for our island community and our future generations. Please vote to confirm Mr. Joseph A. Cameron as a member of the Board of Commissions for the Guam Housing and Urban Renewal Authority. His love for the island and his helping and giving nature will reap great benefits for the organization and all the families it serves. Si Zeus Maasi, Pauline C. Camacho. I had the opportunity to work with Mr. Cameron back in 2016 with the FESPAC. And, I was at the airport, and we had about 3,000 visitors coming from all the different islands. And I believe, if not every single flight that came in, almost 90% of the flights that came in, Mr. Cameron was there. Even though, he is up there in the level of the agency, he was in the trenches helping out the the police officers and the customs and getting them through. And the way he greeted everyone was like, you know, family member, like he's known them for many years. And, you know, that enthusiasm permeated throughout the group. And, you know, he coordinated all the things, the gifts and the dances that these visitors came and, you know, when they entered the airport. It was just fantastic. And I think he gave a huge positive impression to those who came to Guam for the FESPAC. So I think, you know, that's what we need, a lot of passion, a lot of people that can get their hands dirty and get into the thick of the projects or the task. So that's what I see in Mr. Cameron here, that, you know, he's somebody who's not going to be in the sidelines. He's going to be deep into the decision-making process and look at what's good for Guam. So that's my comment. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Before I proceed with Mr. Cameron, I have three other individuals that would like to speak in support. I have Diane Artero. Diane Artero? Well, she signed up. Okay. Mr. Tapasna. Ray, would you please come forward? And Mr. McDonald. Sir, no? Okay. I'd like to also, before we proceed on, I'd like to recognize colleagues that have joined us also. We have Senator Regine Besculi and Senator Jim Whelan. We'll proceed with Mr. Tapasna. Sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Honorable Senators. As you know, my name is Ray Tapasna, and I am the current Executive Director of the Guam Housing and Urban Renewal Authority. And I am here today to support Mr. Joseph Artero Cameron to sit on the GORA Board of Commissioners. I've known Mr. Cameron for about 8 years, maybe longer, in particular when he held the position of President of the Department of Chamorro Affairs under the previous administration. For the 3 years that I served as Special Assistant to the Governor, I've come to know Joseph's passion for public service and the legacy he left behind at DCA. I am confident that Mr. Cameron will bring the same passion to the Housing Authority, which unfortunately is still reeling from local and federal charges levied against the previous board and other public officials. As we all know, these cases are still before the courts, so GURA is still not out of the woods. I'm sure Governor Leon Guerrero had to vet appointees to the GURA board very carefully to ensure that there were no potential conflicts. Federal regulations as they apply to our Section 8 program are very clear regarding any board member, staffer, contractor, or anyone that has the ability to influence programs at the authority, and that includes elected officials. For the record, GURA by federal statute the GURA board is a governing board. The Board of Commissioners appoints the executive director, who oversees the entire operations, and the deputy director, who oversees the housing programs to include public housing, Section 8, and Gumet Tranquilidad. We both serve at the pleasure of the board. Under the Leon Guerrero Tenorio administration, we are committed to turning GURA's image around by cleaning up long-standing audit findings, pushing forward capital improvement projects funded by our CDBG grants, which in many cases are delayed because of the H-2B visa crises, and working more aggressively to combat homelessness on our beautiful island. Strengthening families and building communities one project at a time. That is our mission at GURA. I believe that Mr. Cameron will be the perfect fit to sit on our board, as helping others is what he has built his entire career on. I humbly request that the committee confirm Mr. Joseph Artero Cameron to the Board of Commissioners. I also want to go on record that I also support Sabino Flores to sit on our board. The deputy director and I, we kind of split. We're tag teaming. I would speak on behalf of Mr. Cameron, and she would speak on behalf of Mr. Flores. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Tapasna. You know, we have a total of 3 today, right? 3 for Gura.
I think 2. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's Guam Housing for Ms. Tia. Okay, I apologize. Just want to make sure that no, we didn't miss anybody. I'd like to also recognize Senator Teresa I have joined us also on the panel. Mr. Cameron, you're on now.
Si Zeus Marsi para todos senidor ni man matupago na ani manana si Zeus gos magofzo na guahatalu sansa ni pabeo u kumbiani za beo bansa mo na I kinilamtin I islan guahan piot solamente para guahua ni prohu pabansa mo na gof zahuzi ma fanaan gi fino frances esprit de corps I teamwork za guahu bebeo na kalamtin sa bina tungo tori I mane ikungog I TV lan na tinwebo zo magay gi esti gobernamento. Zaho na pa bina tungo todo samzo ni mane ikungog na timafatu zo halum gitetsu pa birspia umpenyo ni pa bedanyo masya hazi na kiliszano ni matsotsotsu gui. Tadza na matu gi hina soko na tisina zo matsotso mas kisya hazi na kiliszano humafatu halim za necesita sa gof ordinario nas necesidad este servicio ginini gobernamento. Otro mas magahit putsitso sesu guaha na leknati hafa boss leku ahi sa jangin guaha tauto humatu za kumekwento samza para guaha otro na hulinero gifionho mustedio sangan astigi joku co-worker etgui zazahu. I don't introduce people as these are my workers. These are my colleagues and my co-workers, and that's the esprit de corps that I look forward to. And I also want to let everybody in TV land know, and especially those here in the audience and in the August Hall of this legislature, that many, many years ago, a very special woman came into my life, my adopted mother, Maria Artera Cameron, who's here. And she made a very definitive plan that we needed to leave after decades living in the United States and North Carolina, that Guam was my home, and that I couldn't count much of what graces were given to me by God unless I came back to service and to give back to the people of Guam. I know it's an old cliche, giving back to the people of Guam, but truly, if you live the life, and I espouse this because if you notice, I spoke Chamorro first, and I always testify in Chamorro. And if you speak in Chamorro, you will write in Chamorro, you will read in Chamorro, and you will know the passion of the Chamorro people. And I would like to go on record and blame Senora. Si Anne-Marie. I'm going to blame her because she was the oversight chair for the transition team for Cabo Tenorio. And what did she do? I never went to school to be Chamorro. And she said, we should select him to be the president of Chamorro Affairs. And on top of that, it's payback. It's around the clock. The world is round, and I'm paying you back. I supported you to take over from there. To my right, my uncle, Robert, who has recently retired as Chief of Police for the Guam International Airport Security. What a gentleman. And his lovely wife, my aunt. What a lovely lady. I am really embodied with a lot of beautiful people who support me, and there are times when I feel I must quit. A lot of times. But I move forward. I just move forward. And to my far left, the kind gentleman, Ray Tapasna, I'm here to support you. I'm not here to make any motions for your termination, as has happened in the past. That was quite difficult for you, and I prayed for you in those times and moments. And I give adulation to the governor of Guam, the Magahaga, Lutis Leonguero, who is also my cousin. My goodness, there's so many elected officials in my family. And I will tell you that I think it's extremely important. It really is. It's extremely important that we embody and we espouse the loveliness of the island of Guam. On that note, I'm going to mirror my primo, Senator Ted Nelson, who always wore sunglasses. Unfortunately, I forgot my reading glasses, but these are prescription. So in honor of my primo Ted Nelson, I speak to the people of Guam in reading glasses incognito. Yes, Joseph. Havade, my name is Joseph Artero Cameron, but actually I'm a familia cabeza, Joseph Flores Artero Cameron. And I am here today, my dear esteemed senator and my nephew, Senator Joe San Agustin, and all the members of the Guam legislature are here as well, my friends. It is an honor to come before you this morning to ask for your blessing on my appointment by Governor Lou Leon Guerrero to serve as a member of the Guam Housing and Urban Renewal Authority Board of Commissioners. For over 32 years, and time has flown, I've served in many capacities within the executive and legislative branches of this government. When Governor Lou Leon Guerrero asked me a couple of years ago if I wanted to serve in her administration, I didn't hesitate. What she was not sure of was that I wasn't looking for pay. I told her I wanted to be a commissioner on the Gura Board of Commissioners. Government is so important to all who call Guam home. Government, whether people realize it or not, plays such an integral role in many aspects of our lives. Basic human services begin with security. For families, young adults, single parents, our manamko, and yes, even the homeless. I recalled many, many years ago, it seems, several decades ago, I championed the cause for taking care of the people who are considered homeless. Since then, the definition of homelessness has grown in leaps and bounds, even for those individuals who have married but continue to live in the homes of their parents. But yet, there are multiple dwellings in one home, and yes, homelessness is within those homes as well. And I believe that one of the most basic services that our government can provide for a family, for single parents and for young adults, for our manamkos and the homeless, is to have a place, a roof over their head, a place they can find home and security, a home. If confirmed, I would like to hear from the hardworking men and women, those who have boots on the ground, who are administering these programs, what their challenges are, and how we as commissioners of Gura can help. I want to hear from them. What actually worked, what doesn't work. I want to talk to Gura employees who have been there for 20 years, to learn from them. They are the backbone of Gura, lest we forget, and can provide valuable insight and sage advice to anyone who cares to learn from them. I do not wish this to be misconstrued as micromanaging. I've never done that in my career. Merely immersing myself in the realities and the impact of what the Gura programs provide to the populace of Guam. As a commissioner, I would like to make significant strides in my efforts to make Gura programs more effective and efficient. For example, what effect does Gura policies have on portable housing and on families who are most vulnerable, ? What strides has Gura made and benchmarks, if any, to alleviate homelessness on Guam? ? During major typhoons, how does Gura provide immediate and long-term relief to those who have been displaced from their homes, and if there is lack? How can Gura become more effective in meeting those needs? I have visited a 2018 document on a scenario-driven hard work of the employees of Gura, and the many, many multiple agencies and nonprofit organizations that have been provided federal dollars. The Guam Department of Education, to name one, Catholic Social Services, to name another, West Care, to name still another, and more numerous. And it comes to beckon my interest and my question that we realize that federal grants are finite. And I would like to say this for the public and for the record. This government must exhaust and entirely embrace the federal grants before we start touching local funds. We must do that. It's a shame, a crying shame for us to return federal dollars for not encouraging and revisiting our federalists, who sometimes give us federal grants that are not apropos to our culture and to our needs of the people of Guam. It beckons to my interest that we as a community must guide the process for the federalists and inform them that their dollars are incapable of expenditure, as we are a different population in its entirety. Although we are far removed by oceans, we are together as one race under the eyes of God. And we need to be a little bit more proactive in how we would proceed forward in discussions with our federal grantor agencies. We need to be able to say, no, we cannot accept your money, and say the reasons why we don't. I think we should do that. And our GURA is no different from any other. I realize that many of these challenges can be overwhelming at times, but it is our responsibility. It is to provide families the best opportunity to climb the economic and social ladder, to break intergenerational cycles of poverty, and to become self-sufficient. I wrote a little note here that was given to me by an attorney, Ray Haddock, and he's quite interested in the whole concept of collaboration with Guam Family Recovery Program that takes parents with addictions and helps that in a holistic approach for the treatment even of children, and seeing how we could abound more opportunities for those individuals as well. Maybe we can grow out of the status quo of how the Housing Urban Renewal, the Housing Urban Development HUD, the United States component. I'm also very interested in the whole idea of trades. We talk about housing individuals, and we talk about putting a roof over their head, and that's quite okay. But we need to abound opportunities that would engage further collaborations with those individuals who can offer trades academy opportunities so that folks can be self-sustaining. I remembered as the director of vocational rehab and as the director of the disabilities departments here in Guam, that it mattered not that the federal grant that was expended to each applicant who qualified as a person with a disability, whether or not they made $50 more their lives that month than ever they did at zero prior to any services rendered. This is something that we need to wrap around with. We need to wrap around our minds on this, that any small incremental changes in the quality of life of an individual is tantamount and it's paramount to them. And we need to embrace that and say, God bless you. You're doing great. Haven't we heard enough bad things that parents do to children, and the first word they learn as a child is no? And isn't it sad that as children, we had the opportunity to say yes to a lot of things, and then we teach our children not to do things? It is incumbent on all of us here to look at this agency and say, we can do this. We have a can-do attitude. I will strongly advocate maximizing the percentage of federal monies, as I said, to go straight to the families that need it. In conclusion, I have always tried to use my voice to raise awareness of the issues that affect our island. I realize I do realize that there are other issues that are of concern, and I reassure you that these issues will be addressed. I hope that I will be able to contribute to the Gura board as a commissioner and to make a positive difference. Actually, I thought this was the end of my stint in government of Guam. It's not what I was looking for in my retirement years, but so be it. Sidus Maasi for your time and your consideration. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them.
Thank you, Mr. Cameron. I'm looking at which side is the longest side to start with, but thank you for identifying that you were reflecting Senator Nelson, not Senator Clinton Rigel with the sunglasses, Joe. That was just a joke there. See, there you go. Folks with sunglasses. But we'll begin with Senator Terlai on my left first. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Situs Masi to all of you who testified this morning. And Mr. Cameron, congratulations and thanks for accepting this nomination. As the director said, Gura is, it has its own challenges, even though the legislature doesn't get involved with Gura very much. It's a federally funded agency, and for the most part, but its role in what we are going to do in the next 2 or 4 years is very critical, right? And you expressed some of these, so I'm very grateful that you have a priority in your heart and in your mind for the homeless and for those living in poverty, and that is the mission of Gura. But Gura, as a board member, is facing challenges, and you're going to have to do even more than you have in your career to learn procurement, the open government, keep the agency transparent and accountable to the people of Guam. And I know you like to learn, but these things change, and we all have to just continue to learn on, and you also are going to be, as the commissioner, the overseer, pretty much, I guess, or you are the ones who hire the director, and we don't even confirm the director of Gura. So it's you're going to have to do that objectively. Same thing with the work of the staff at Gura. And so we are counting on you to be objective in that process. And I like the fact that you are accessible to the community and you are in touch with the community. And I think that's something you have to keep doing in order to be an effective commissioner, because you have to keep this, Gura has some discretion as to how to use the federal funds. And yes, so what your choices are really are, you're going to be choosing between competing priorities, right? And so that's very important. And how we get there, I guess hoping you're going to be, make sure that we get there in a fair way, make sure we get there in the quickest way possible, and that when you're choosing between the priorities, that you are really looking towards the best interests of all the people of Guam. And that's what I'm hoping. And I know from your experience at the Department of Chamorro Affairs, you were overseeing very many things, so I'm looking forward to that experience, leading you forward in this adventure.
Thank you, Senator. I would like to comment on your statement that, I'm reminded of the CDG grant, the Community Development Block Grant, and you did so state eloquently that the governor may at any time, at the discretion of the Board of Commissioners, revisit some of the dollars and how they translate to effective agency needs, or the community for that matter. So we're looking most favorably to see that we don't stick to the status quo. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Senator Will Castro.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Senyor Cameron, sedus masa no acceptay nominasyon para Commissioner for Gura. Sedus masa para Hamzulokwi, Senora Zen Presidente, Anne-Marie Arceo, Senyor Tapasnya, Senyor Komatsu. I also underscore the fact that Mr. Cameron has extensive knowledge and experience both in government and in the private sector. It's also revealed, Mr. Cameron, no pago no hututungo na magradua gi FD, lo ti put edzu number son hat na be support ti domu confirmation. As a matter of fact, what I'll do though, my vote of confidence above and beyond our experiences professionally and our personal relationship, both by relation but also, you know, as friends and colleagues, may be found principally on page 1 of your statement, and I'm not sure if it's part of your resume, but if I can quote, it says, you know, it states your sensitivity, and I'll quote, to issues dealing with Chamorro rights of indigenous peoples. And so with that said, Mr. Chairman, I'm encouraged that the administration is at putting forward nominees who are not only qualified through education and experience, but who are champions in advancing both the language and the culture and the issues facing this great Chamorro nation. So thank you for that, and to the administration. I do want to encourage you, on a lighter note, Commissioner, to come with me to Sagan-Lanazan. I was there a couple weeks ago to visit a family, and GURA and GAC and other government programs are excellent tools and vehicles to assist families in need, but there are gaps in the system. And so I want to invite you as a board member and perhaps also the management team to come out and see that sometimes these folks are self-constructing and they get the permits, but there are gaps perhaps in getting the necessary financing for wire to go from the drop of GPA into their home. And so, you know, they're not quite sure how to best, they don't have $1,800 to go out to Home Depot or your favorite hardware store to connect the power. But they're on CLTC property, it's a working father and a working mother, and the gentleman is literally self-constructing his home for his two kids. And so I don't know how best to work through that, but I'm encouraged that you're on the board, and so I want to network with you. The only word of caution, what you may need to, debinun talaika I franelomo. It's going to be hot. There are a lot of mosquitoes out there, and I'm not sure that sport coat will go well with the environment. But antes no ribayhano, befaisen hao kusinya una itu no presidente gifion mo I domo resume sa Fernando Lati spelling por na palabra tomorrow, right, as opposed to tomorrow. That's my only word of advice on a lighter note. But thank you, Mr. Cameron.
Joseph, it changed since your time.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But other than that, Mr. Commissioner, congratulations and thank you for accepting the nomination of the governor and the administration. God bless you on your journey.
I need to respond. You know, when I retired, I actually became retarded. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Cameron.
For the record, also, Joe, I need everybody to know, because I enforce that after I see it. When I suggested for you to be DCA president, see, I sent you there to build that beautiful building next door so that I can come and have a nice office and sit there now. I'm kidding. Only Lord knows, right? Si Dios manera.
Well, I have to tell you something that's real cute. You know, people have stated, this is very interesting. You know, you fast forward speed, it opened up that museum for Pestback, but did you get a chance to mark it like a dog where you walk around, you make your markings? I said, you know what? It doesn't matter. What matters is that people of Guam have a beautiful place to call the House of Curiosities, as they were called many, many years ago before the word museology came into place. But yes, Abiba si Anne-Marie Narce Presidente na guiza ugehulo zo gaigi pa na departamento, and take good care of the people's treasure.
All right. We will now proceed with Senator Sabina Paris. Thank you.
Manad Sizus, Mr. Cameron, thank you for testifying and for everyone here that hears today. I just encourage to see your holistic approach to homelessness and also the new perspective that you bring, even though you've been working within the government for 32 years. I'm looking over your resume, and it's amazing to see how many different areas you've been involved in government, from the Western Central Pacific Fisheries Commission to Guam Academy of Charter Schools, all the way to Application Review Committee. So, and of course, Department of Chamorro Affairs and FESPAC. So I think I appreciate your extensive experience and also the passion that you bring to your work, considering you could be retired. So I just actually have a couple questions regarding your experience with the Application Review Committee, and what can you bring to, what kind of skills can you bring to the position as a commissioner?
By law, the government saw fit that the president of Chamorro Affairs would be participatory in the process of applications for such developments. And the Department of Chamorro Affairs input was primarily to look at the topography and the history of that topography of that landmass prior to it being changed in its entirety into a development compound, and that it would embody and embrace Chamorro-ness, whether it's the name of the area, and it's not left to the developer to name the area, so that we have a sprinkle of Chamorro-ness, just like when you go to Hawaii, you see almost anything and everything that's in Hawaiian. So that was my input, but having been on that land use committee group, I saw the diversity of complaints and concerns as to how people who live in the areas that these particular developments were planned were not included. And I thought that the whole process was shambled with concerns by the community and how the livelihood of that community will forge forward and how the safety of their children would be taken in consideration. So there is a myriad, Senator, of many concerns that the Land Use Commission has today, and it will continue to be of grave concern. We are in the business at the Guam Housing and Urban Renewal Authority to build communities. And that being said, my background in that area, in that fabric of work, would be useful. Thank you.
Thank you. Also, there's been talk about opportunity zones, and are you aware of what they are? And if so, are they going to be incorporated into, GURA?
I believe I would like to yield to the sage advices of those whose boots are on the ground to give me more information on that and how that would be diversified or incorporated or not incorporated in total. So I look forward to hearing a lot more information on that from our illustrious director and the colleagues that he is working with.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you, Senator Sabino. Senator Clint, you remove your glasses too, huh? Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First of all, congratulations, Mr. Cameron, for your appointment, and thank you for accepting this call to service once again, despite the fact that you've had many years of public service, and it shows your passion for public service. So thank you for accepting, and congratulations on your nomination. I like a lot of the things that you said, particularly talking about your focus on tackling issues like homelessness, as well as working on some way to incorporate some sort of substance abuse rehabilitation programs and working with the families in GURA to sort of tackle those issues. As well as I'm really impressed with your idea about getting GURA clients involved in the trades, which I think is a great approach. I think all three of those things are great approaches to look at, so I'm really looking forward to working with you, and congratulations. I think you're well suited because of your extensive experience in the government of Guam, and I think you're also literally well suited today in that suit you're wearing. So congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Clint. Senator Moylan. Jim.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Cameron, congratulations. I'm excited. I think you're already actually working. You know, it's true what your friends and family are saying about you. You're ready to rock and roll, and I'm looking forward to that. In fact, I just sent you a video on your WhatsApp. You'll get a message from me, a project that I'm thinking about and something to look at, and I have something in mind I'd like to work with you as well on. So I think we're both ready to rock and roll, and with your glasses, you're absolutely ready to do that. So congratulations, sir. Congratulations.
Senator Lee.
Sujusmasi, Mr. Chair, and thank you very much, Mr. Arturo Cameron, for accepting the governor's nomination. I also want to take the time and thank everybody who has come before us today to provide testimony for this fine young gentleman, but also those who've submitted written testimony, because I think it gives the committee a better understanding of his background and his experience that he would bring to this position. Mr. Cameron, thank you very much for accepting the governor's nomination, and I think she was wise to bring you back out of retirement once again to continue to serve the people of Guam. I think I just want to reiterate some of the things that Mr. Tapachnia had mentioned, and we also had the pleasure of having a visit from some HUD officials from DC that came out, and in the feedback that we received from them, yes, there are many challenges that GURA still faces, but they are very impressed with our new leadership. They are looking forward to a lot of the things that have already been put in place to tackle some of the challenges that have been presented in the past and turn those into opportunities for our people. And so I just really want to encourage you to continue to use your experience and your positive energy and your love for our island to really assist Mr. Tapachnia and his team there, because as you said, you're looking forward to speaking with all of the people, our subject matter experts at GURA that have been doing this work day in and day out for so many years, and learning from them and figuring out ways that the board can continue to support their efforts. So I think with a team like that, we're certainly really looking forward to you moving in that direction, and whatever support that the legislature can provide, we're also looking to hear that feedback from you. So I just want to thank you so much for stepping up. I have thoroughly reviewed your packet, and a lot of the questions have been answered by my colleagues, but I just really want to say Nagulina for your willingness to serve our people. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator. And your grandmother and my mom are bestest of friends. You know what they call BFFs. Not to pressure, but Mr. Chairman, I would be remiss if I didn't take this opportunity right now to inform you that for many years prior to meeting this fine gentleman in the person of Ray Tapachnia, I had heard adulation upon adulation of decades of work that he had done with the U.S. Department of Commerce. See, a lot of folks don't realize that, but he has been the esprit de corps team out of the Guam International Airport when all these grants were coming in. And I was told by the commissioners, I was told by the regional administrators also in Hawaii, and they said, do you know this Ray Tapachnia? And I said, yeah, maybe I want to meet that guy one day. Well, here he is. And I wanted this day not to go without that mention that he comes from that umbrella of the U.S. Department of Commerce, and I think it's a great mix. Thank you so much, Mr. Tapachnia.
Okay. Thank you, Senator Lee. Thank you, my colleagues. You know, Mr. Cameron, Uncle Joe, it's nice. How many governors have you served? Just wanted to make sure it comes out on the record.
Pardon? Would you repeat that question?
How many governors have you served?
This will be 5 consecutive governors.
Okay.
And I was chief of staff for 3 senators. And I was I was the chief of staff for finance for the Guam legislature, which you now hold the strings to. So I didn't go to college officially to be an accountant, but I knew how to, and I did talk to then Senator Gutierrez, and he called me out of work to come see him, and he set me up actually. He says, I need for you to be the chief of staff of Ways and Means. And I was totally aghast. I was like, oh, I don't know anything about numbers other than to spend it. And he says, what I need is somebody who can work with humans, because there's a lot of problems going on in this government, and you're going to be facing all these agency heads that want dollars, and you need to be in the middle of that, and you feel that, and you figure it out. And for that reason, I accepted the Chief of Staff for Ways and Means. I was the campaign chairman for Speaker Tina Rose Mooney Barnes, I remembered she asked me when she was my deputy director for DISIT, could you please chair my campaign? I said, absolutely not. I have no background in that, just like I didn't have any background in Chamorro affairs and all the things I was asked to do. It was not my discipline. So she invited me, for the record, she invited me to her house. And if you know anything about the house of the Billy Bangkok kitchen, Uncle Bill Munya had a huge kitchen and invited a lot of people to their home. And she armed herself with her mother and her sisters. Let me tell you something. I could not say after that sumptuous meal that I couldn't chair her campaign that made her win. So that's in a nutshell. I've met a lot of people. The first appointed governor of the President of the United States was my uncle, Joseph Flores. The second appointed by the President of the United States was my uncle, Manuel Flores Leon Guerrero. The first elected governor was my uncle, Carlos Garcia Camacho, who my birth mother is a Garcia, first cousins. Then the next governor after that was Ricardo J. Berdalio, that he's a Pangilinan Kotla, and I'm a Kotla as well. And then Joseph Ada, whose mother is Regina, part of the Flores Herrero, and there I go again. And then all of a sudden, in comes by injection my primo Eddie Calvo, because my step-grandmother is a Calvo, so therefore I am embodied as a family member as well. And guess what? I come from a lineage of elected officials, and for the record, please don't push me too far into wanting to run for any public office.
Thank you, Joseph, Uncle Joe. You know, I'm just glad that you accepted the nomination, and I look forward to your confirmation in our session. But it may slow down my committee reports. Translate to, you know, and we got to get the spelling correct and all that stuff. So I hope I get the committee report done.
Hire EDCA na para translada.
No, I been na ya sa hagsa mana fresh pa fanazuda. Da pwede mo mansabdik. Okay, so
Anne-Marie Tisalapia apas.
That's right.
Oh my God,
Yeah. And Mr. Cameron, I just want to make it very. I've been reaching out to Mr. Tapasna, and I'm very concerned about exactly what you mentioned. That we should use all the federal monies we can use before we start touching local money. And I have approached Mr. Tapasno on many occasions, and we got a long list because we want to take care of everything we can take care of. And I do look forward to your participation as a commissioner. And I got Ray's cell, and I have your cell, so I know I can reach both of you anytime, but then I know where you live, so I'm not worried about it. Saman parenthesis. But thank you for accepting the nomination, and with that, that concludes it there, Mr. Cameron. Do you have anything else you wanted to
Yes,
say
just
to us?
one favor, and it's quite unusual, but this opportunity will never abound itself. Could you yield for just maybe a 30-second picture taking with my mom, the whole group?
Yes, yes,
to the
we
side
can.
here. Thank
Yes, we
you.
can. All right, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a 5-minute break so we can do a photo op with Mr. Cameron and the mom, and then we'll proceed on with the other candidates. Thank you. I'd ask now Mr. Flores to please come forward. Analyze Sabino. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, this. Joe, I speak to him. Where's the trash can? Ladies and gentlemen, we'll now continue on with the with now Mr. Sabino Flores, member of the Board of Commissioners, Guam Housing and Urban Renewal Authority, to fill the unexpired term of Thomas E.B. Bora. Mr. Flores, I have you. I have Mr. Hattick here also. Will you be speaking? Sure. That's what I thought. I had a feeling Jack loves to speak. We'll begin with Mr. Hattick first, and then after that it'll be you, Mr. Flores.
Hafade, Mananasidus, Mr. Chair, distinguished members of the committee that oversees housing. My name is Jack Hattick III, and I'm the Administrative Director of the Chamorro Land Trust Commission. I'm here today to testify in favor, full support of Mr. Sabino Flores to be a member of the Guam Housing Urban Renewal Authority Board of Commissioners. Officially, in full disclosure, Sabino was my immediate boss just this past year. But more importantly, I think I wouldn't be in the place where I am today, honestly, without his support. I've only known him, he interviewed me first for a job in 2017, I believe, but I feel like I've known him for 20 years. He's come to be a great, I'm going to testify today as to three things: Sabino the manager, Sabino the mentor, and Sabino the man. And I've come to know him in those three respects over the course of the last 2 years and plus. Sabino the manager, as an employer, as a supervisor, as a boss, he was real strict. I'll just say that. He was by the book, which is what you need at the Guam Housing and Urban Renewal Authority. You need somebody that's going to hold people accountable for the tasks that they're committed to doing. You're going to need somebody that understands exactly what it is, the goals, the responsibilities of an agency such as GURA, and I believe that Mr. Flores possesses, as a manager, possesses those goals. His extensive service, over 30 years in the Department of Public Works and in the government, and certainly in the private sector, he has seen and he has done so many things that will help GURA be the agency that it once was before. Secondly, Sabino the mentor. On a personal level, Mr. Flores has provided me with key advice in managing life, in managing being in the political arena. As you know, I was a former senatorial candidate. Thank you to all of you that supported me, and congratulations to all of you. But his advice was key, was instrumental in negotiating the very delicate arena that is Guam politics. As you know, that his family is obviously well known as well as in Guam politics. So he was able to really mentor me, to give me pause. And I think that's what's needed at GURA also, is amid all the allegations and amid all of the media attention, he's really going to give pause and get us back on track where we need to be. And finally, Sabino the man, this man opens up his heart, to people. He completely understands from the perspective of being a son, being a father, and a husband. He understands what it means to support those ideals. He's come to my home. He's met my family. He has seen my work ethic, and he completely understands how we deal with human beings on a very basic level. And I think at the Guam Housing and Urban Renewal Authority, in dealing with folks that need housing very, very much, I think that he will understand because he's provided and he's been there. So I would like to offer my full-throated support. Hugagagahaw, por favor, na iisupotin mizu para estina tautau sa mago festina tautau, met good estina tautau, okay? Was sidus masi and manane sidus.
Thank you, Jack. Ma'am.
Okay. Buenas and Hafide, Senator Joseph Agustin, Chairman of the Committee on General Government Operations, Appropriations, Housing and Office of Finance and Budget, honorable senators and members of this committee. My name is Elizabeth Napoli, Deputy Director of the Guam Housing and Urban Renewal Authority, better known as GURA. I am here to strongly support the appointment of Mr. Sabino Flores to be a member on GURA's Governing Board of Commissioners. Although his professional reputation precedes him, I speak from a personal perspective, having known Sabino since our formative years as classmates through 8 years at Cathedral Grade School. He then attended Father Duenas Memorial School and I, the Academy of Our Lady of Guam. Nonetheless, our classes have continued to share a special camaraderie throughout the decades. Over the years, I have observed that Sabino's core values of trust, fairness, integrity, and friendship have not wavered to those fortunate enough to know him or work with him. His parents raised him well, and I have no doubt that his family is very proud of him. As GURA's website indicates, in the aftermath of the devastating destruction wrought by Typhoon Karen in November 1962, GURA was established by Public Law 6-135 on December 18, 1962. It was designated by the Governor of Guam to administer funds received for Guam through the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development's various funding programs. GURA's goal then, and continues to be, to provide adequate housing and community planning for those who reside in GORA-managed housing and who participate in GORA-supported rental and home ownership programs and activities across the island. For nearly 57 years, GORA has assisted thousands of low and moderate income renters and homeowners to acquire suitable housing within well-developed island communities. GORA also works to create opportunities for our clients' successful participation in the workforce and housing in the private-public sector. Sabino is very intelligent, competent, accountable, committed, respectful, and worthy of the trust by the people of Guam. His background in engineering, contract management, planning, architectural design and construction management, program management, and procurement involved capital improvement projects on military installations as well for our local government's Department of Public Works and Department of Education. With such an extensive background in development projects, Sabino brings to GORA's board deliberations that will be sound and productive decisions. I strongly believe that Sabino possesses the work ethics and temperament that will work well with GORA's Board of Commissioners, and that he will serve with transparency, accountability, and competency. He has outstanding qualifications, and his appointment will make him a valuable asset in advancing GORA's mission of strengthening families and building communities one project at a time. In closing, I thank you all for the opportunity to offer my testimony for Sabino Flores, and I urge your favorable consideration to support his confirmation to be a commissioner on GORA's Board of Commissioners. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Napti. Mr. Flores, sir.
For the record, it is Mr. Flores, and if necessary, my wife is ready, willing, and able to testify in that regard. Anyway, good morning, Senators. Thank you for this opportunity to appear before you as a nominee to the GORA Board. As you can see from my nomination packet, I've spent most of my career in the government, having spent 25 years at the Department of Public Works straight out of college. And that was followed by 7 years on base working for various companies, from which I learned a lot on the federal procurement side. And following that, I did some work as a consultant, again, primarily on projects. And I feel that the opportunity to work at GORA is an extension of my passion for school facilities, community centers, highways, athletic fields. Again, if you look at my packet, most of my projects were school-related, but kids have to go home after school. Parents take over. So the kids would love to have the opportunity to go to a gymnasium that we built back in the 90s, and I'm glad that under GORA, some of the same gyms that were funded by the Department of Interior in the 90s are being retrofitted and rehabilitated with hot money. So that is nice to know now that they are still being utilized. And I was just telling Ray Tapasna earlier, for some reason, kids don't want to play in outside courts the way we did in my generation. So again, it keeps them off the streets and provides a safe environment for them to be in. Again, as you can see from my packet, I've had a passion for projects to benefit the community. And I'm glad I have the opportunity now to expand that opportunity to include GORA-funded projects. I'm looking forward to working with the staff with GORA. As both Jack and Liz have alluded to, I am a stickler for following rules and regs. Following rules and regs keeps people out of trouble. Interpreting rules and regs accurately is the main thing. There's nothing wrong with rules and regs. It's primarily the people who interpret the rules and regs. So I believe that would be the job of the board at GORA to ensure that the rules and regs are adhered to the letter and proceed with benefiting the community with these projects. Okay. Thank you, and I'm open to any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Flores. I'll start at the end. Senator Lee.
Mr. Chair and Mr. Flores, Thank you very much for accepting the governor's nomination. As I communicated to the previous nominee, this is a very important position. We're really looking forward to your experience that you bring. And I was actually very impressed. I didn't realize that you graduated from Brown.
Yes.
So I think that's quite an accomplishment.
Many years ago, when it was affordable.
Just a few. But, you know, I think that your engineering experience, your program management experience, it's going to bring a lot to our board. I think that it will help them to have that level of expertise that both the director and the deputy can call on you when they need assistance in that realm and in project management. I think that's going to be really important for many of the projects that GURA has going forward, and just in the management of our current infrastructure and what's existing. So I want to thank you very much for accepting the governor's nomination, and thank you to our community members who have come before us and given us a little bit more background. I will state for the record that Mr. Flores, I keep wanting to say a different name now, went to high school with my parents. So I grew up, you know, knowing him and as a really strong member of our community. So it's just really great to see people who have were born and raised here, gone off to further their education, perhaps in the States or elsewhere, and really come back home, contributed and served in our local government, maybe in the federal government, but just continuing to bring their wealth of knowledge back in service to the people of Guam. So I just really want to thank you in advance and thank your family for the time that it's going to take for you to sit on this board. I think that's really important, and if we all want that better, brighter future for Guam, we're going to have to put the work in today. So I want to thank you in advance for that. Suzus Masi.
Thank you, Senator. One thing I want to add to my previous testimony, we've mentioned expertise, but I'm very grateful for having great parents who instill things like trust, respect, and a work ethic. Wouldn't be here without my parents, and I wouldn't continue to be here without the support of a wife. So we have to keep that in mind. You know, rules, regs, jobs will always be there. But having good parents and a good spouse are the most important thing. Yeah. And for the record, I've known Senator Bisco Lee since she was an infant. So
since she's been young, right?
Yes. So she turned out okay.
Senator Moylan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Congratulations, Mr. Flores. I'm excited on your resume that you come from government experience, you come from private experience, so you bring both sides when you're looking at things. So I'm glad for that. I think we got a great team on this board with Mr. Cameron, and I think between, and I'm sure between the rest of you, we're not going to see a status quo. We're going to see some great changes. I'm looking forward to that. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you, Senator. Yeah.
Senator Clinton.
I'll just keep it real short. Congratulations, Mr. Flores, and thank you for your willingness to serve. I look forward to working with you and other members of the GURA board in the near future.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Senator Paris.
Thank you, Mr. Flores. It's my first time meeting you, and I'm really impressed by your resume. It's nice to see you have the skills and the caliber to move these projects forward. I'm really encouraged by the fact that you know federal procurement and being a stickler and following the rules. I think that's very important as part of being on the board of GURA. So thank you for accepting the nomination.
Yeah, thank you, Senator. Yeah, we've never met, but everybody thinks we're related because Sabino, Flores. Some people feel you're my niece, my sister, so I think you garnered a few votes because of that connection. So, but looking forward to working with you also and getting to know you.
Thank you, Senator Paris. Mr. Flores, you have over 30 years well-rounded. I'm not going to fault you for graduating from Father Dueñas. You know, I mean, I look at all your experience of 30 years, it says a lot for you. And I'm happy you mentioned your wife, because a happy wife is a happy life. And it always works that way. And your upbringing you're the example of it, you know, great example. And I do look forward to working with you and the deputy director and director, and all the other board members. I can actually vision that there's going to be some cleaning up that the director and deputy director has been trying to do. Once we get you confirmed, and Mr. Cameron, you guys will just do what you need to do. You know, building a lot of community centers, gyms and stuff like that. That's something that I'm actually really looking forward to. And Ray will tell you about that every time I call him. Hey, where we're looking at, we need to do something. The children our children out there they're getting bored. They're on the phones when they should be in the gym. They should be on the soccer field. They should be in the baseball field. They should be in the football field. They should be on every field. They can always call somebody, but you can't. It's not everything in life. But I do look forward in your confirmation, and should be able to submit your committee report real quick, faster than Mr. Cameron with the translation in tomorrow, but hopefully we'll get yours in the month of April and you'll be on board, but I do look forward to your confirmation, okay. Mr. Flores. Thank you.
Senator. Yeah.
And that completes the hearing on Mr. Flores. We will now proceed to Ms. Tiong. And you know, coincidentally, Ms. Tiong, I know your husband a long time. So please join us up front. And Ms. Tiong, you would be for the position of member of the board of Guam Housing, Board of Directors, for a term of 6 years. Ma'am, would you go ahead and proceed?
Good morning. I'm Lanita Tiong. I was born in the Philippines, Manila. And I have lived in Guam since 1971. Too old. Too long. Okay. My husband is Manuel B. Tiong, who has a degree in medical technology. And we have 4 kids. I have 1 daughter and 3 sons. They're all graduates. 2 are aircraft mechanic, 1 is a psychology master's, and the other one is a nurse. Okay, I have completed my Bachelor of Science in Elementary Education at the University of the East in the Philippines. I also have attended University of Guam, took my master's degree in Administration and Supervision. I have attended numerous training, educational training in Seattle, Washington. My work experience consists of elementary schools, Daniel Perez, Cathedral Grade School, Weddingale Elementary School, UP Elementary School, and St. Anthony Catholic School. I've been also, I also served the military as I work with the kids, the National United States Cadet, Sea Cadets. And I was, I know this is a very, first time to be facing people, leaders here in Guam, but I've been always facing a lot of kids, standing up in front of them, giving them a good education. So being nominated for board of director of the Gura Housing Corporation, it's a big job, but I will try my very best because of the experience I have in management and dealing with people, dealing with parents, dealing with people of Guam, maybe, or I will try my very best to be help to our people of Guam or the government of Guam. So, as I said, I will try my best to be, not try, but do my best to do the job of a board of director. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Jim, do you have any questions for Ms. Tion?
No questions, but I appreciate you coming forward to be a member of the board, and congratulations very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Senator Clint?
Same thing. I don't have any questions. Just congratulations on your nomination, and thank you for accepting the nomination, and I look forward to working with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Senator Paris?
Yeah, thank you for accepting the nomination as well. And I know as a teacher, classroom management is very, it's a tough job, and I know that you can bring those skills to what you're going to do at the board. So yeah, thank you for accepting the nomination.
Yeah.
Ms. Tion, I've known your husband for a long time, and let's see, all the time I've known your husband, I know it's a reflection of what you do to make sure he stays on track. And me and him would joke about this for many years when we were in the police department, then when he worked at the airport. But you know, I'd like to also thank you for accepting the nomination. And I do look forward to your confirmation.
Thank you.
And as the oversight chair of housing, I will be reaching out to you. I know where to find your husband, so I know how to reach out for you and say, what's going on in the Guam housing? Let's get this going, because there's a lot of homes. You know, Guam housing has property or homes right across Gura development, in Dedidu especially. And there's a lot of projects that Ms. Alice Tyrone is looking at, and I know you're going to have fun with Ms. Tyrone, because she's like you. She's just want to go after it. Let's fix this. Let's move forward, and let's take care of the people of Guam.
Okay,
ma'am?
Yes,
So thank you.
I will be working very hard. This is my first
First board?
board.
Oh, don't worry. You have fun. It's a lot easier than DOE.
Yes.
Because you're going to be dealing with adults.
Oh,
you're not worrying about teaching kids, children. You're actually making sure that adults get housing for their children.
Yes.
And that's the beauty of that one. Because you'll be able to see, you probably see some of the applicants might be even your former students. All right? Okay, thank you, Ms. Tion. This completes the committee. And the committee will continue to receive testimonies for the next few days up till at least Monday. Please address your written testimony to the Committee on General Government Operation, Appropriation, Housing via email, Senator Joe S. @gmail.com. Sijus Masi for your attendance and participation in today's hearing. And for those at home, thank you for watching. Have a nice day. Thank you.